everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to our panel. So, you want to be a host?
Yeah.
All right, great. So we're going to tell you all about the auditioning process from start to finish. Hopefully that will make you feel like you have a little bit of insider info, whether you're a first-time auditioner, many-time auditioner. We want you to succeed, and we want to give you the tips to help you do that.
Yeah, we don't want to keep anything secret, so we're happy to share all this stuff, and we'll have plenty of time, theoretically, for Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, think about them, and we'll get to them, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to talk a little bit about who we are, how we ended up as hosts, coordinators, etc. So, can you see the slide?
Oh.
I don't know if we can see our slides.
Hey.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. There's some pictures.
So on the left, that's me. I'm Sav. My background is education. I was a teacher for 14 years. You can maybe tell in my voice how authoritative I am. In pandemic, I was looking for something to do. I decided to start online gaming. Never done it before. Became a commentator for my scene. Actually just had a run up there with Nintendo Puzzle Collection.
They won.
We won, yeah. It was amazing. And every community I've been part of, I wanted to find a way to help people give back. And I was a host for Fatales. And then I saw this job open up. And I was like, oh, I think I'll apply to that. And I got to meet this amazing guy.
That's me. I'm the Kyle Thomas. I was host coordinator for AGDQ 24 through 25. I have a musician background. I used to be a singer in a band and toured and all that kind of stuff. I've been a voice actor for a long time, and I've been a longtime GDQ fan, and kind of same deal. When the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, now's the time where I can get involved because I can do everything remotely. So I started hosting remotely. I was blessed enough to get in on my first try. Oh my gosh. And then when this position opened, when they transitioned from Prolix to Charbunny and somebody, I was lucky enough to be that somebody.
Mm-hmm. I have actually never auditioned successfully for GDQ because I've only been able to be remote, and that is very tough. We'll hear about that a little bit later. But also, Kyle sadly departed, but excitingly enough, we have a new coordinator, Jay. This is her first event. She has a corporate training background, so she helps train employees at companies. She's been gaming since she could hold a controller. She's been watching for 10 years, and she's staffed for lots of other events, Multithon, Lady Arcaders, Binary Breakers. She's been a mainline host. She's been a Fatales host. So her main focus this cycle has been learning the ropes. She's been really good at working on mentorship for hosts and also just surviving because we work a lot.
So we'll talk a little bit about the big picture, the overall timeline of what it is to audition, how everything goes, the steps along the way to get you up onto that host mic. But first off, what is hosting in general? Who are you if you are a host? You are what we say, the voice of the marathon. You're the person who guides the listener from one piece of content to the next. You read donations, you promote our sponsors, interact with the audience to increase interactions and donations. If tech goes sideways, you're the one who's there to catch everybody and say, it's going to be okay. Let's talk about some of the cool things that are going on while we're waiting. Because we know there have been those tech stalls where we just can't figure out why the rhythm game won't set up and the music won't start. So that sometimes then falls on the hosts to fill the time, make sure that people know all the interesting things that are going on. Donations are being read. Everything's kept smooth and nice. And you're also there to have fun. We're some orchestrators of memes sometimes, or we'll see memes and we'll follow them. We'll do calls to action where if there's a specific joke that's really getting said a lot, we'll ask, or for example, in Sav's run, what's your favorite puzzle game? And so the donations start to come in about that. So there's all kinds of things you can do to have a good time and make sure everybody watching is having a good time too.
Yeah, so who should audition? Literally anyone.
Literally anyone.
Literally
Every
anyone.
single person should audition.
Anyone. So up here, give you a second to read these, but I'll talk about some helpful host skills and traits. That was a bit of my teacher background. I wanted to give everybody a chance to read the material a little bit before I started yapping at you. So one of the biggest ones is flexibility. Again, we got to adjust to the memes coming in, the donations. You're going to get information from production, from us, from blah, blah, blah. So you have to really make sure that you can bend, acknowledge everything, change gears if you want. Obviously, you've got to be very professional. There are some words that we cannot say at GDQ, thank goodness, but you've got to be also on point and representing the company. We are a big team, not just the hosts, but we are part of a team, and probably one of the least important parts in terms of things going right. So we have to be part of that team. We got to be comfortable with public speaking. It's not the same thing as performing. You know, you just have to be an assertive, excited version of yourself. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Sense of humor, very important. Got to be able to roll with jokes, laugh at others, laugh at yourself. You got to think very quickly, very, very quickly.
And there's a lot of things to focus on. So I don't know if anybody has had a chance to see you can see the host at the back of the stage when you're looking in between the two stages. And I don't know if you've seen, but there's literally 4 monitors there at the same time. There's Discord, there's the dashboard, there's the donations, there's a live feed from the thing. So you've got to be able to multitask and kind of always be processing what the next thing to do is. Mm-hmm. If you have experience outside of specifically GDQ or other marathons, there's all kinds of different things that play into it. Any kind of performance background, improvisation background, conversational background, doing presentations at work or at school. It all kind of feeds into the same pool of things that will help you succeed as a host. It never hurts to be enthusiastic for gaming, but you don't have to be a speedrunner. I'm not a speedrunner. I'm a pretty slow runner, honestly. But I have a real passion for Games Done Quick in general, for charity, for the charities that we support, and kind of everything that goes on here. So that passion, I like to think, comes across from all of our hosts, that they're here because they love it, and that really helps. And people can hear it when you're passionate about it. And it does help to be a little tech savvy because there are a lot of little tools that can get a little finicky from time to time. So being comfortable just on a computer and in a Discord channel can help you out for sure.
Ooh, I forgot to say one important one. Up there on the left, resilience.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has flubbed something that we were excited to say, has made a mistake, has read a donation that wasn't the best choice or something, or a word came out wrong. And you just have to not dwell on it in the moment. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to accept that you've made a mistake and realize that, probably it's going to be magnified 200 times in my head from anything that anyone else said. And sometimes mistakes can actually turn into gold. If you make the right mistake, you can get a meme out of it.
You sure can.
Yeah. Ooh, is this me?
Yeah, this is you.
Oh, okay, great. So I wanted to give you an example of the sort of huge timeline of how auditions work from start to finish. So this is the timeline for SGDQ 25. The volunteer application is due on March 31st. So you're always going to look out for announcements from social media about that happening. Then once we get everybody sorted, we let you into the audition server. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And practice bots open up. We'll learn about the bots. And you're going to prepare yourself. 3 days later, we open up the final bots. Then as soon as auditions start coming in, we start processing them. We got a great group of judges. We'll talk about them. Those close on April 22nd. Then on May 9th, the judges finished up. We managed to collate everything in 2 days and figure out who the top group of hosts are. We collate their auditions, and we send them to a smaller committee who has 1 week to review 40 people, just about. Then we all meet together. It's an 8-hour full workday meeting where we cast a group of hosts. And then we release the list. Everybody's memeing. Everybody's excited. Everybody deals with all of their emotions. We deal with everyone's emotions. We deal with our emotions. And we're excited to orient the cast. And finally, the schedule for what games people are on. It came out on June 2nd, but we messed up like 10 times. So it finally came out on June 11th. We had orientations. We had some for new hosts, experienced hosts. We had a live orientation on the Sunday or the Saturday before the event started. And oh my God, it's happening right now at all hours. And then
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. And I finally know what day it is and what hour it is. That's really great for me. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
And then August and September, Jay and I will deliberately not talk to each other or see each other for a whole week. And then we will start writing feedback to hosts that did not get in this time so that they can improve themselves for next time. And we take that really seriously. And then we start again. So, and that maybe will be including you too.
Absolutely. And all of that feedback is opt-in. So we send you feedback if you request it, but you don't have to have it if you're like, I know what I did wrong, let's just move along. So we used a lot of like little jargony terms, very specific terms for what we do in that whole timeline. So we'll go into some specifics here to kind of add a little clarity for you. So this is just kind of a big picture of the actual workflow. You can see dates below. And this is roughly what it is. It's always going to change, but you can see we start the whole process very early. Compared to it's as early as run submissions sometimes. So there's a big lead up to when we actually get our full cast put together. I'll get into how the judging and everything works here. So let me get to a slide that makes sense to be up for that. Let's go here. Yeah. Okay. So we have two different teams for judging. So everybody will get in that Discord server. They'll do those auditions with the practice bots, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But your audition, when you submit it, then gets cut down to where it's only the parts that where you are talking, where you are auditioning, and we send that to a team of host judges. The host judges are broken up into equal teams so we can divide everybody up because we don't want to give 100-something auditions to one poor team who has to review them all over a short time period. We break them up. For this event, there were 4 judge teams, and each reviewed about a quarter of the thing. And that's the most judge teams we've had. So it's always continuing to grow, which is awesome to see. So those judges will evaluate the scores that they're given, or the auditions that they're given, and they will use a scoring rubric that we come up with, and we share that rubric with the auditioners. So you know exactly what the judges are going to be judging on. They use that, and they provide all of the scores then to Sav and Jay, who then compile them. Sometimes people will say, I can't judge this person because they are literally my best friend. Or sometimes we'll see judges who give really, really high scores to everybody when other people maybe picked out some of the things that they did wrong. And we will kind of cull some of those things for bias to make sure that we're getting really accurate representations of what the host hopefuls have done. And then some top amount, it's always different, from each group is sent on to the judge committee. And it's not preset amount. We usually look for kind of a fall off where we can say this tier of people was clearly a little bit above the rest of the auditioners, and those are the people that are going to get put in front of committee. And then that gets sent on to them, and it shows us the top talent from each of those groups to then have more in-depth conversations with the smaller group of the committee. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have our committee is 5 members, so it's both host coordinators and then 3 people who are secret as long as they want to be secret. They are secret through the whole process. If they ever want to reveal themselves to you, they can, but they never have to. And we make sure that they are the people that we know, we trust, but represent a variety of gender expression, gaming communities, etc., to make sure that we have as much diversity as possible. And committee members can't serve any more than 2 times on the committee. So we have people on for 2 times, and then they'll cycle off. We'll say thank you for your service, because we want to keep fresh ears on it all the time. And exactly, yeah. So we have a committee rubric, which is more open-ended. It's just strengths, weaknesses, that kind of thing. And then we compile those together, and we get our beverages, we get our snacks, and we lock in for 6 to 8 hours on Discord. We look at all each other's reviews, and we create a cast. So sometimes those people they were rated super high in their group, but we might already have 3 people with that same energy. And so we can't take all of them. So how do we spread out the energies, spread out the experience, spread out the communities, genders, all these things? And so once everyone goes to committee, they are back in a blender, and we figure out what we need. Yeah. And we wish that everyone could see that meeting, because it is the raddest conversation I've ever had. Thoughtful, caring,
people who just really, really care about hosting as a volunteer role, and care about everything about it, the philosophy behind it. There will be sometimes we're not talking about any specific audition for an hour because we're talking about the philosophy of who we're casting and why we're casting them. And then when those things kind of get settled out, then you can start talking more about individuals. But it's such a passionate, exciting conversation.
And, it's interesting, too, because, although Jay and I are the coordinators and we eventually have to work with everyone, our voice does not take precedence over anyone else's. So if we love and adore someone individually, we can't strong arm them onto the cast if the rest don't agree. Sometimes we can really beg and really, get in there, but we are all equals on that committee. It's very cool.
And committee even has times where we will say, I feel very passionately about this person. I'm going to bow out of this conversation because I know I just really love them and I want them to be in. And if they're on the line, you don't want to put your finger on the scale. Yeah. So we really strive for representation, for fairness, to make sure that everybody who's listening at home can hear a voice that they recognize and that they resonate with. That's really important to us. Yeah. So that's how auditioning and everything works. What about kind of the rest of the big picture? What are volunteer apps? What do we ask of you hosting-wise? So the volunteer app is it's the application when you do kind of any volunteers. Hosting is a part of that. Even if you're going to be a remote host, it's in the same time, because with GDQ, sometimes they'll split out remote volunteers as a separate time, but hosting itself is tied in with the full volunteer application. So when those open up, go and sign up. Even if you can only remote host, getting in that audition server and getting some practice auditions in for a time where you can come in person or any of that stuff is just really valuable experience. So please join, even if you can only remote host. We need remote hosts too, I assure of you. What specific questions do we ask for hosts? We ask just basic demographic info, what experience you've had in the past. We kind of keep track of that for selections. Your general availability, like when you would want to host, if you can do overnights, if you can do overnights, we love you. If you can do overnights, we love you. We love it. And then if you can be remote versus in person. Remote is limited slots. I think we only had an hour and a half of remote runs this event.
Yeah,
that's always up in the air. So we just need to make sure that we can fill those times. And it gets pretty competitive when there's only a slot or two. But and then...
but we do make sure that each cast, we have at least 4 people who have not hosted before.
That's right.
At a mainline event. So we are dedicated to making sure that new voices shuffle on, because we have by now so much talent. And you could hear a lot of the voices over and over, and you probably do. But we want to make sure to elevate new voices, and some of them this marathon have already crushed.
They've been fantastic.
Absolutely
so good. Fantastic.
So good.
Sometimes people get scared when we talk about that. Like, oh, well, if I'm experienced, am I at a disadvantage? But we have never had a case where we've had to meet a quota and oh, well, let's kick off this experienced person to make sure we get the 4 people. It just so happens that first-time hosts are also super talented, so they get in on their own merits every single time. But it's just something that we're always keeping in mind, because having new voices is super important to us. So what happens after you sign up? You'll get an email from us, dates on how things are going to flow, and we will invite you to the Discord server. Ooh, Discord. It's a super fun place. It's really fun to watch everybody trickle in and start talking with each other, and you get to see maybe hosts or volunteers you've seen before. Friendships can be reconnected and all that stuff in there. And then we have the biggest set of practice materials and reference materials you'll ever see in your life. We have past auditions. We have videos that you can watch of auditions that have both made it and not made it, with the rankings that they got and the feedback that we sent to them. And those are all volunteer from the people. We ask, can we use your materials as reference in the future? So all of that stuff you're seeing is from those people who have generously said, yeah, even though I didn't make it, I want to make sure that people can learn from the things that I'm also learning from. It's really great. We have all of the context and the audition materials that you will need for when you do your audition, so you can start looking over everything ahead of time, start seeing what the run might be, start seeing what the sponsors could be, what the blurbs could be, all of that. And then there are audition bots and practice bots. It's going to simulate a live experience, and Sav's going to tell you all about it.
All right, so this is amazing. This has been created for us by the GDQ tech team a couple of years ago. It became it was like a brainchild of you and Char, or Char? Or?
Char and I knew what we wanted, and we looked at so many different third-party options. And they were like, oh yeah, that's only $170,000 for that. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then we brought it back to Worm and the tech team, and they built it in a couple weeks, and it's been refined and refined with several iterations of improvements, and it feels a lot like being at the host desk now, which we love.
Yeah. So essentially, it's the bot streams through Discord. It's hooked up to a machine at our studios, far, far away from where I live and where Jay lives. So we have to remotely do that. And so it records your audio, and it sends a video of all of that to us. So we can see the video of the segments we put together, and I'll talk about that. But we can hear everything that you have said on your Discord call. And also, you know that all the hosts are reading donations. At the real event, we have a screen for that. All the donations come in, and you click, read, ignore, etc. And we have something that simulates that as well. So we have donations coming in right now that I wrote months ago. And you have the opportunity to check them off, say that you ignore them, move them around in the order that you want. That is not recorded by us. We don't know how you've touched those or interacted with those other than the ones that you read out loud. But all of that is a tech interface, and part of that is actually the test. Can you figure that out with the materials that we give you so that you can feel comfortable with that process?
In the past, it used to be we would send you a video that was like 8 or 9 minutes long, and it was like, hey, host for a couple minutes, and then the run starts, and then host. And we found that gave unfair advantages to people who had GDQ hosting experience already, or I'm not saying anybody that I know has done this, or had tech experience where they could just like punch in and edit together the perfect take and things like that, as opposed to, don't shake your head.
I didn't know that people did that.
Yeah.
I was so naive. I did like 200 takes.
Yeah,
that
same.
Most of them were just like, hi, I'm Savage.
And so then you get the situation where people who have more time and the ability to do 200 takes have an innate advantage, like until they get something perfect. And we thought, this doesn't translate to what you're actually doing when you're on the stage. Mm-hmm. So that's why we put in this request for something that emulates the live experience. We thought that was really important to tease out the people who are really talented at doing things live in the moment and get them on stage instead of the people who can edit audio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is what it looks like. So on the right-hand side, you are watching a video. This is your Discord screen. It's streaming through Discord, and your microphone is on. You can hear audio from Discord and also put your own audio in. We'll talk about what you're going to be seeing on that video. If you notice below the video, you'll see Kyle's Discord icon. It's his little me. And then on the left, this would be a window that you would have open on your monitor or on a second monitor, and that's the donation tracker. So you would see the instructions for whatever's going on in the audition at the top. So this one says, this segment is a space for you to warm up, settle in, find your rhythm. You'll have some minutes to do that. In the meantime, you can read content, read these donations, click on things, whatever. But that's what you're going to see. So, for example, you'll see something like the $51 donation from Mom6226, who says, this one's for Doug Trio and the best Pokemon ability, Dig. And you've decided to read that. So then you would click the green checkbox, and you'd say, hey, I read it. You could also click those arrows, and they would rearrange. They would send a donation down or up. This is slightly different from what it looks like for us, but that was what worked for tech. Or you could say, I want to ignore it. Or there's a little button with a pin there, and you can say, oh, maybe this donation was at the bottom of the list, but I want it to be at the top. I will pin it and send it to the top. And that's something that we have available to us at the desk as well. We have the capacity to pin donations so that they're going to be in a group together. We know what we want to read next. So that's what it's going to look like. And I would highly suggest that if you're going to audition, you find the capacity to have 2 monitors with you. It's very important.
It's super helpful.
I have made this mistake.
But this does show you that it is technically possible with one.
It is
but
technically
if you have
possible.
it's going to help.
But this is a large monitor. And also, there's other pieces of information that we want you to have up as well, which we'll talk about. So it's really important to have your screen clearly managed when you sit down to audition.
When I had one monitor to practice this with, I made windows really small and I like dragged them into like a tile setup. So I was still able to see the video even though it was really small, but it was there and I could hear things, and then I would have my documents open where I had to read blurbs from and all that. So it's definitely doable with one monitor, but there is a lot of content, just like the live experience, that you're wanting to take in and parse through and decide to read at whatever point it is. Mm-hmm. So what is the actual format? There's always 3 to 5 segments. It's kind of a surprise until day of how long it's actually going to be. There is a static ad read, and then that's our jargon for reading copy underneath a specific image. An example, like a picture of some Fangamer merch comes up, and it's like, Fangamer provides amazing merch, and you read the whole spiel there. And then there's a real recorded run. We get the kind of fun task to reach out to a runner and say, hey, can you please record us a little video? And then they'll send it in to us. We'll find ones. We want 2 minutes of breaks for the people to be able to read, or 3 minutes, or whatever the priorities are for us. You will have those donations provided like we showed you on that tracker. And then the runner will say something like, oh, until I get to the next up pipe, you can go ahead and read as many donations as you want. A new change that we made last event, was we added also a timer of how many seconds they're actually going to give you a break for, because there's no real way to emulate the live interplay between you and the runner. When you're on the stage, I can see the runner, and they can watch me, and when I'm done reading, or I can see them getting ready to come back in, and so that interplay can't really be emulated in that audition situation. So we added that timer, so you have at least a rough idea of when they're actually a precise idea of when they're going to come back in.
Because that was something that separated experienced people from new hosts. The experienced people knew that they could just continue talking for just a little bit and then stop, even if the runner came in. But new hosts, they would be sort of not sure when they should stop, when's the runner going to come in, and sometimes people were really scared that if they were still talking when that runner started, that their audition was over and they would not be considered. That was a moment of stress, and we could hear it in auditions. So even though the timer is never something you would get in a live event, we wanted to make sure that that was something that equalized the playing field.
In addition, there's a segment where you introduce yourself to the audience before sending it to some kind of interstitial content. You see and hear hosts do this all the time. They say, hey, I'm the Kyle Thomas. I'm going to be your host for the next handful of runs. But before we get to those runs, we're going to take you over to Sent with Prizes, or whomever. A change that we have made recently, also last event, is now these auditions are anonymous. So we assign everybody a code name. I think this event it was colors.
No, it was fruits and veggies.
Fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
Last event it was like a color and an animal. So when you introduce yourself in the audition format, you'll just say, hi, I'm your host for the next few, or I'm anonymous for the next few runs. I'll be here with you, whatever it is, because we again, wanted to make as even playing field as possible. We don't want somebody to go, oh, that's the Kyle Thomas. Just all exceeds expectations because he's the best. I just love him. No, we all deserve the same fair and equal judgment.
And let's see, I think Tangerine is in the audience of this panel right now. You don't have to reveal yourself. But it's really interesting. The anonymous thing is actually harder than you would expect sometimes to tell. There were 2 auditions that were very similar one cycle, or no, one audition that was the same, and Kyle and I was like, you want to guess who you think this is?
And we did 1, 2, 3, and said different people.
Said different people.
Yeah,
and one of us was right, but then we managed to convince each other that the other one was right for a second.
Yep.
And then we went back and then we figured it out.
Yeah.
So that's something I mean by like, some people have similar energies and similar voices, and they carry themselves the same way. And so we can't take 6 of those same people, no matter how great they are. So but we want to make sure that if there's a really great one who hasn't hosted before, that they don't get overpowered by name recognition.
Yeah. The other really important segment that we have in the audition is the stalling for time segment. This is an unknown amount of time. We will say, oh no, there's a tech issue and you have to fill time until it happens, so here you go. And then we've provided you with all kinds of different blurbs you can read. The donations are there. You also have the schedule of upcoming runs. You have literally everything that you would have if you were here hosting for us. And then it's up to you, your creativity, your energy, what makes your voice unique to fill that time and to engage with people in a fun and exciting way. And you'll just keep going until there's a loud doorbell sound that happens, and then a green run is ready light or whatever the next piece is. And then right when that happens, you go ahead and throw over that. You don't say throw, but you send it over to that next thing right then.
And one of the things that you are judged on is how soon do you recognize that light and start transitioning? Because there's actually a light for hosts as well. There's a green light. There's not a doorbell. And sadly, the green light is not as obnoxiously large as it is on the Audition, but you have to keep your eye on it, because if you continue to talk for a minute, production is going to come over to me and they're going to say, what the heck did you train your host to do? And so, you got to make sure you are there, and that's part of that team playerness, that they give you a message and you follow it. Is this it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. So another important piece, we talked about static ads, and what we decided to do is there were times when we wanted someone to talk about a game, but we knew that if we did a real game that existed, that there would be some people who would research the heck out of that thing, and they would be super prepared with all the deep lore. They would have talked to 10 top runners or something ridiculous like that, and there would be some people who would just read about the game, and that's totally fine. So we decided to make up games, and we made up blurbs. And so you started this tradition, and then we kind of really got super into it. And this art is from LLK, our art designer. Yeah.
They're amazing.
It's amazing.
They're so kind for making this for us.
Yeah, so kind. And so I wanted Kyle, who did not audition, to read the blurb for Intertemporal Space Hotel, a new game coming out soon. Take it away.
And of course, I practiced this just like I was supposed to. I read this ahead of time, and I ran through it a bunch of times, so I'm not dry reading this right now in front of you. Get ready to jump, flip, and paradox your way through Intertemporal Space Hotel, the ultimate 2D side-scrolling adventure where history is your playground and your problem. The hotel's guests have been trapped across alternate timelines, past, future, and beyond. But only one hero can navigate the corridors of time itself to save them. Whether you're rocking through the Stone Age, turning a cold shoulder to the Industrial Revolution, or repairing robots in a neon-glitched future, every level is a new era packed with mind-bending puzzles, gravity-defying stunts, and more anachronisms than a Shakespearean text message. Coming soon-ish, unless you already played it in the future. So you had to hear that probably 40-something times.
More than
at
that.
least.
More than
So
that.
what were some trip-ups? Where did people kind of go sideways on it?
Yeah, so we used to be a surprise which blurb you were going to read. We would give you a lot of different copies. Some of them you may even heard in the marathon because we use those. But we decided to tell people ahead of time that they would be reading this one because we wanted to put as many crunchy words in it and different kinds of punctuation as we could. So the first one, Intertemporal Space Hotel. There were a lot of people said Intertemporal Space Hotel. Now that's also a fine pronunciation, but it wasn't right according to me. I looked it up and there were a couple pronunciations, but I was like, oh, whatever. People are gonna get tripped up on this, and they did. Anachronisms. That is a tough word. And we wanted to make sure that people had read it ahead of time and knew what they were going to be saying.
I did.
Yeah. And there was another one that you may have heard. Whether you're rocking through the Stone Age, turning a cold shoulder to the Industrial Revolution. Notice that has the word coal in it. Cold.
There's a lot of coal in the Industrial Revolution.
There's a lot of coal in the Industrial Revolution. If we could hear somebody being
pun it up.
A little bit, we could hear it in their voice. That was awesome, right? And so we throw in crunchy words. The punctuation's a little tough. We wanted to make sure that people didn't get ahead of themselves with the copy. And also, that final tagline, coming soon-ish, unless you already played it in the future. There's so many great ways to say that. There's funny, there's lighthearted, there's, serious movie announcer in a world where, And so that gave us a lot of variety. And yes, did we all hear it so many times? Yes. But there were people who just did it so beautifully, and they would stand out. They would really stand out. So that's why we create something ridiculous and silly and beautiful.
Loaded with anachronisms.
Loaded with anachronisms.
So what audition resource? We talked a little bit about this, about all the different things that you're going to have available to you. You'll have past auditions complete with feedback, like we mentioned. You have those practice bots where you can run through real auditions that we've had in previous years. And you can do that as many times as you want. They're not recorded. We don't review them. You can just get in there and hack away as much as you like. Make sure you do this if you're auditioning, and you should audition. Because as you can see, there's a lot of little gimmicky things that are going on during auditions. So making sure you get your hands on it and that you are allowed and enabled to do yourself the best that you can and not be fumbling over tech or fumbling over where to put things on your monitor and stuff like that. There's also a Q&A forum where you can ask questions specifically to the host coordinators that other people can't answer, so you always have official, real answers. That just keeps kind of everything straight and gives you like a little library to be able to reference to see if other people have already asked those questions. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, there's also, I zoned out for a second.
There's also a live Q&A.
There's also a live Q&A.
With your host coordinators.
With your host coordinators, me and Jay. So anybody can come and ask questions, and some people just show up and they just like vibe in there, like JD just comes and vibes and is nice and kind. And you do actually have really good questions as well. But one thing that's really important to note is that it is important to get your hands on that practice bot and get comfortable with the technology. But if you do that practice bot and you do an audition 15 times, you will lull yourself into a false sense of security that you will know what's coming. And so some people say, well, I ran through the practice bot 20 times and then the audition was so much harder than that. It was because you practiced yourself out of the ability to be surprised. So if you're going to practice, make sure you practice just the right amount. And then maybe you have some friends every so often come and like ninja you and like hand you a piece of paper and you have to read it charmingly in front. Like you just have to find ways to keep yourself surprised as you practice. Yeah.
And
that's a really good tip.
Yeah,
I just gave.
Giving it all away.
Sorry.
The hosting community, if you know any hosts or if you've been in the audition server before, everybody is super passionate, super excited, super friendly. So if you ever want people to practice with or bounce things around with, there's no shortage of people who, if you just write and say, hey, I just need a little bit of help, can you give me 5 donations to practice reading? People will be there in a snap. So how do you do a good job? What are we judging on? What are the judges actually looking for? What are the specifics of what we judge on? So we have 2 different sections of just about everything up here, and that is we have objective measurements and we have subjective measurements. So objective measurements is literally, did they mention this, that, and the other thing? And that's how you get exceeds. If you only mention this and that, then you're a little bit below that. And if you don't mention anything, then you haven't met those criteria. So just about every category. The categories with asterisks. Yeah.
Asterisks?
Asterisks? Asterisks?
Yep.
Anachronisms. Anachronisms. And then they also have subjective parts, which is just, did they do this role or this specific thing that we're looking for in the way that we want them to? So comprehension is just a basics. Did they follow directions? Did they shout out the things they were supposed to shout out? Things like that. Judgment is a really fun one. What donations did you pick? Did you read the donations that we said the runner wanted to hear? Because you get that ahead of time. Because this happens all the time where runners say, I'm looking out for this person and this person, do not read anything from that person. This is my community hashtag that I told to all of my Discord server and I tweeted. So let me know if any of those come in. Did they read those? And then other than that, what did you choose? Because there's a bunch that are like $20 from Kyle that says hi. It's fine. It's okay. But then there's also really heartfelt ones. There are ones that are connected to the game. There are ones that are connected to the runner without those. So what is your judgment? How did you decide to paint the narrative of your hosting shift? And then performance is one that is purely subjective. There's nothing objective about how overall did your performance come across. So that is purely a subjective one. That is based on the judges' interpretations of how you did. How was your energy? Were your peaks really big and your calm moments really calm? Did you have a nice dynamic moment? Were you able to deliver things with grandiose that deserved them? Was that $1,000 donation big? And then creating all these cool moments. So it's purely a subjective category.
And the thing is that there are so many ways to nail the performance.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of believed in my soul that I was a really hype host. I don't know why I thought that in a million years. Do you hear my voice right now? It is just so relaxing, right? So I realized that I have to play into my strengths in a certain way. I am not going to be the sportscaster pop off Sunday, and I can't believe I was the host for that baseball run because I had to go so hard against type, so hard. But you have to find a way with your own voice that is true to you. Mm-hmm. You know that when you're talking to a friend, you know how to convey excitement, you know how to convey realness in a way that works. You don't have to do that in any other way, but the way that makes sense for you.
Sav, I love that you said realness, because so much of this is about
realness.
We want to hear your voice and who you are.
Voice.
We don't want to hear your impression of Savage Octagon or the Kyle Thomas or JPEG or somebody. We want to hear who you are and how you host, because the host cast is made up of 24, 26 individuals, and we love them all dearly, and we want you to be one of those individuals as well.
And we actually do, when we haven't heard you before, we fall in love with you. Make us fall in love with you.
Yeah.
We've never seen you. And we do. We fall deeply and madly in love with the voices behind the microphone. We are proud of them. Even in the 15 minutes that we get of them, we cheer their successes and we say, oh my gosh, I hear the potential. Like, make us fall for you. We know you can.
Yeah.
The other categories are engagement. So what are the things you're saying to the audience to get them to want to donate? Are you talking about donation trains? Are you talking about how great the charity is? Are you talking about how they could win prizes? There's all these things that might want to make someone perk up and donate. And are you hitting those? And are you really getting the audience to do those things? Are the things you're saying convincing the audience to donate? Another thing is flow. You want to make sure that you are neither talking too quickly nor too slowly all the time, and that you don't have long pauses in what you're going to say. Obviously, we all have to look up donations. We have to look up the next content. We have to look at our bullet points, but you don't want long pauses. And also, when you're transitioning into something, are you doing it in a quick way, a nice way that will let the audience know where you're going? Right? If you said, and now we're going to do a run from the Kyle... if you're not ready to go, the audience will be confused and probably stressed out. So there are things like that. And also the run ready light responding to that, very important. And then, of course, that overall recommendation. The judge at the end of the day can say, I think this person should absolutely be in the cast. Sav and Jay, you decide, but I think I like them. Then, I really don't know. Could go either way. And then, no, I don't think this person should be cast. And then they give us a really nice justification of why that is. Somebody could objectively hit the marks and do things textbook, but not jump out for a particular judge. And so sometimes that happens, and we need to know about it. And then we kind of make the decisions of, well, who really represents the top? And you could even receive a judge saying they're unsure about you, and you can still make the cast because we look at all the judges and we listen to you very carefully, and we decide, okay, yeah, we're going to move them forward. We're going to look at them really closely, or not this time. But people they don't have every single judge obsessed with them and fall in love with them and all this. There is nobody who has wowed every single judge and gotten a perfect score. It has never happened.
Nope.
So just so you know.
and there's plenty of people, like Sav said, who get in with Mistakes. Like, we are all human. You will make mistakes if you get in to be a host and are up there. You will miss that call to action. You will forget to read out the blurb, whatever it is. And that happens in the auditions too. So, but it's about the overall picture. It's not about any one individual thing, basically.
And another thing is, recovering from your mistakes, really important. And also the rubric bakes in allowing for mistakes. It used to be that you made one mistake and it was like good to bad. Now it's like amazing, good, and yikes if you make repeated mistakes, right? But we leave a lot of space, and most people are just meeting the expectations for everything, right? Because that's very good. It means that you can do the job. So just keep that in mind. We bake in lots of room for mistakes.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so now you know what we're judging for. You know where you are. You're in the Discord server. So the big take comes around. You decide, okay, today's the day I'm going to audition. Because there's just that whole window, and then it's up to you when you feel ready. So find your center. Hype yourself up. Big up yourself a little bit. Believe in yourself. Have fun. And then you join that audition room. Sometimes, like say the last day before the auditions close, those audition bots might be all filled up. We have waiting rooms. Jump in the waiting room. It's all very self-policing, where people will just be very polite and wonderful and kind of wait in those waiting rooms until a free spot opens. You go first. Okay, no, you were here. Everybody's very nice about it. But get ready, join that waiting room, then open up the audition site. The link is provided for you when you're in there. And then open up all the other content you'll need. That'll be told to you very explicitly of like, you should have open the context of like where you are in the marathon, the blurbs document to make sure you're able to read the blurb, all of those things. Have it all ready to go. Then view the screen of the audition bot, and then make sure your mic settings are right. Please turn off push to talk. Push to talk is your enemy. I have turned on push to talk because I have to go to a thing and then forget to turn it back off. People have had to do backup auditions because when we go to listen to it, there's all of a sudden nothing there. And I go, hey, hi. I didn't hear anything. Was your mic working? And they're like, yeah, I checked it. I know that it was working. I saw the green. Was your push to talk on? It was the push to talk.
Heartbreaking.
And also, please wear headphones. I don't know if you know all the fancy things that Discord does in the background, but it does a lot of volume ducking and things like that. So you could be in the middle of a really cool thing, and then you're listening to the music through the speakers, and now it's ducking your voice underneath, and all of a sudden we can barely hear you, or it cuts out your mic entirely.
Now, microphone quality is not judged in your audition unless you want to be a remote host, because that would be the setup you would be using as a remote host. So if you've got some mic issues that are clearly not under your control, don't worry about it. But make sure your push to talk is off.
Yeah.
Oh, we really got a motor.
We got time. Everything's fine.
Okay, everything's
fine.
Okay, great. Tips for success. Oh, there we go. All right. Practice the right amount. Something that you can't practice too much is reading the blurbs to yourself. You can never do that too many times, because if you do that a lot of times, you'll be really comfortable with it. And maybe you performed it 600 different times to your cat, your partner, the shower wall, etc. I practice my host intros to the shower wall a lot of the time. And make sure that you find a way to get your jitters out. Like whatever method you have for getting the butterflies out, utilize them. Everybody in the Discord server is really supportive because everyone is in the same boat. You may see names that you've seen on the screen a ton of times. Their voices don't matter any more or less than yours just because they've done it before. They're still in the place where they have to earnestly put themselves out there, and everybody's completely even at that point.
I mentioned the word context before. That's a document that tells you everything you need to know about where we are in the marathon, what runs are coming up, what run just happened. It's really nice to say thank you so much for that Backyard Baseball 97 run. Wasn't that exciting, everybody? It makes you feel like you're in the event. So knowing that document is super, super important. It also gives you supplemental context to provide a really rich, interesting audition, because you have so many different things that you can pull from. You're not just read a donation, read a donation, read a donation. And then use the breaks before segments. So when we're going through these segments, those videos will start, and you have 2 minutes with a timer to read those instructions and get yourself ready. And there's a 2-minute countdown before you actually do your auditioning things. So that is your time for yourself to use however you like. Clear out donations that you don't want to read or you know won't be good. Really understand the directions. Get your flow figured out. Plan kind of how you want everything to go.
Okay. Now, some of you have auditioned before. Some of you may audition in the future. And no one ever believes me. Now you're going to have the context that you'll see my face and you'll see how serious I am. If there's one thing that you take away from this panel, it's this. There is no such thing as a perfect audition. Absolutely not.
We have had people, unfortunately, in the past make a mistake and then stop their Discord and just close out because they're like, well, I can't make it. And we say it in everywhere. With the link, the chat where you get the link to audition, it says, there are no perfect auditions. You will make mistakes. That is expected.
And nobody believes
us.
me, ever, you know? But now maybe you will, and you'll spread the word, and you'll say that I'm a nice human who speaks the truth. Now, a lot of people ask for, what are the most common mistakes?
Let's pretend this was animated and everything came flowing in one at a time.
It was supposed to.
It was supposed to. Yeah, it sure was.
Okay.
Number one, we in those contexts and on those blurbs, we provide anything that we are going to judge your pronunciation on. We provide a pronunciation guide for, and a lot of times those questions end up in the Discord facts. So make sure that you're able to pronounce the runner's name, the donor's names that have pronunciation guides.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes the donations have iffy content in them. Our friends in the donation group here, the donation department, they are so amazing. Are you on? But you have been? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
They are so great. There's so many more donations that come in than what the host sees, and they screen them for appropriateness and things like that. But if we just gave all the judges good to great donations, it's a lot harder to judge. So we do give some not so great donations. They could be things that are not very nice to the runner. They could be things that are bigoted. They could be things that are just like, what's going on in this event? I don't know. Ugh. You know, things like that. And the point is that you want to make sure that you're pre-reading what you're going to say. Because sometimes something could sound really good at the beginning and then it says like, you know, and I don't know. I just thought something inappropriate, and I'm not going to say it out loud. But you know what I mean? And so, but hosting, being able to read your eyes going ahead of your mouth and your brain going ahead of your mouth, that is such a key skill, and that's how we test it. Not to simulate the environment where some stuff that you could see would be bad. It just doesn't happen. But you still are always going to have to make judgment calls of what you want to read and what you don't. And so this is part of it.
Donations team is amazing, but that doesn't mean that I don't see the number 69 show up in donations at host every single time. They sneak through every once in a while, but we don't read them because we don't read the funny numbers because we just don't. So donations is amazing, and surely some of the things that we put in to test for wouldn't ever make it to the front, but some little tiny mistakes can slip through. Mm-hmm. Another very common mistake is like really long pauses, and it can just really it goes into that flow category of wanting things to feel smooth, taking a breath, taking a beat. You read a really heartfelt thing about someone whose mother passed away from cancer. Give that the moment it needs. If you jumped right into something else right away, that would be jarring. But there are moments for pauses and breaths, but sitting there for 10 seconds without saying anything, you know, that's going to feel jarring.
Mm-hmm. And again, remember, if the only thing you take away is that there are mistakes, remember that you do that. But if you become overly flustered audibly in the audition when you make a mistake and you cannot recover from it, then in the real thing, we also don't expect that you would recover from it. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to move on. If you've mispronounced something, even if you're sort of doing that thing where you sort of go, blah, blah, oh, I'll just start my sentence over. Whatever, it's fine. I'm awesome. Like, you know, you just have to recover. And so if you beat yourself up in the audition and we can hear it, that won't be good for your hosting. So that's a common mistake.
it is a nerve-wracking experience. You can get really nervous, and when you get really nervous, you can talk really fast, and it can be really hard to hear anything that anybody's saying.
Kyle, stop.
I'm so sorry. I was really nervous. So that's often a problem. So taking that beat to find your center before you start your audition can help kind of slow that down to where you're having a more conversational pace.
Mm-hmm. Dismissing sponsor content as sort of less exciting than our own stuff is a sly mistake that not a lot of people know about. You're always going to have to introduce content that is not necessarily GDQ related. For example, Fangamer or Intertemporal Space Hotel. If you say something like, you read the blurb and then you say, well, that's over. Now let's get to the good stuff. No one said that, but people have basically said that.
Yeah.
Our sponsors are why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't be here without them. And so we need to give them the reverence and kindness that they deserve. And they're probably bringing us future speedrun content as well, and t-shirts and amazing things. So you never want to give the impression that even though speedruns and each other are the reason we're here and charity, you don't want to make sure that other things don't sound as exciting.
Yeah.
That's kind of a secret one that we don't often tell people. So now you have that.
A really subtle one, too, is keeping the exact same energy throughout everything that you're saying. And when you talk like this the entire time, people don't know if you're excited about something. We just got a $10,000 donation from the Yeti. Creating dynamic moments. You don't have to be a sports announcer. You don't have to be any of that. You can be super chill. But you want to get excited about something. You want to bring something up a little bit. So keeping that same energy throughout. People tune out. People will say, I kind of was nodding off listening to this because it was just kind of monotone the whole time. So varying your energy. Your energy. Because you could be not varied and be super excited all the time, like at an 11. You can be not varied at a 1 as well. So that can happen to anyone. You just need to make sure that you figure out how to convey those different levels. Poor sound quality, we talked about this, muting by accident with push to talk, not wearing headphones, not checking Discord settings. There's a way that you can go to your settings and test your voice. Do that. You'll hear a little recording of yourself back. So just make sure that you do that. And again, if you're a remote host, it could be a killer, unfortunately, because we will assume that you have that same setup for your hosting. But if you're an in-person person and the mic is like, it's not perfect, but we can get the sense, then you're fine. Yeah, as long as we can hear what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that matters for in-person hosting.
Oh, can I do this one?
Yeah.
Narrating everything you're doing. And now I'm going to read some sponsor content. And now, let's go to some of your donations. And now, I think I'll tell you about prizes. If that's not a necessarily great conversational flow, you want to find some cool ways to say that you're going to do the next thing. Like, I can't wait to hear all the amazing messages from the viewers. What am I going to do now? I'm going to read some donations.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't say, and now I'm going to read donations. Sometimes that could work, but we hear that like hundreds of times in the audition process.
Yeah.
So that can be a subtle mistake that we also don't often tell people about. So look at all that insider info you're getting.
There's also making the mistake of only doing one kind of content in the break, especially that stalling section where you're totally making up what's going to go in there. If you do nothing but read donations back to back, here's a donation, thank you, here's a donation, thank you, here's a donation, thank you. Again, it's another reason for people to tune out. It's not exciting. My dream, I love it when this happens, is when somebody reads a donation that mentions prizes, and then they talk about the prizes that are coming, and then they read a donation that mentions the upcoming run, and then they talk about the incentive for the upcoming run. Ooh, it's so good. So all of these things are given to you to be able to weave a wonderful, fun little narrative and get people excited about donating their money to charity, their hard-earned money to Games Are Quick and the wonderful charities we support.
Yeah, and also on the flip side, if you just read the content that we give you and you don't read any donations, that would never happen in your real shift. You're really prioritizing donations a lot of the time. So if you only read 2 donations in your whole audition, the judges are going to say, well, we have no idea if they can pick donations well. And so you want to make sure you give everyone a chance to hear you do lots of different kinds of content. Okay, here's the biggest one, and we've already hinted at it before. If you are not yourself, we can tell. The judges will tell instantly, and they will not be for it. So there are hosts that we hear. There's all kinds of people that we hear speaking, performing, right? Radio announcers, sports announcers, talk show hosts, etc. And they're all doing great things, and we love to hear them. But you have great things, too, that make you you. How would you talk to a friend? That's what we want to hear. Because at the end of the day, what we want is we want to come together for a good cause, but we also want it to feel like we could all be in a basement together playing video games, and that you're part of that, right? We have people who are DJs and things like that audition, and the judges are like, well, they sounded like a little too polished. But then we have people trying to imitate those DJs, and we say, well, that sounds really inauthentic. So you want to make sure that you're finding your sweet spot. What makes you you? Tell us, because we pick unique voices. We can't have everyone be the same. So if you're imitating someone else really consciously, then we'll hear it. And the judges, it will not cross my desk if it's really inauthentic. The judges won't let it get to the second round. So just keep that in mind.
So we've talked about all these little mistakes, and we've said there's no perfect audition, but come on, Sav, there have got to be some fatal mistakes.
Yes. So I'm always very cagey when I'm asked about this. So we've put together a little break screen, and we're each going to do some terrible mistakes, and we're going to pause, and we're going to ask you what you think the terrible mistake would be. Now, I want to preface this by saying, hold on, pause it. Nobody has done these exact things. I'm not conjuring up images in my mind of particular auditions. These are amplified versions of the things that people sort of do.
Yeah.
Right.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is an example of what you'd be seeing when you were filling time or something like that. This is like a video that would be happening.
Well, so our upcoming run is Grand Poo World 3, run by Mr. Mighty Mouse, who, you know, he's really not even in the top 10 of runners for this game, but all you have to do is really apply, right? Like, that's all you really have to do. And even though we don't, the subs, like, don't give money to the charity and stuff, and maybe, like, you don't even know where the charity money is going, like, it's still good, right? Like, we're all good. Yeah, like, come on, friends. Yeah. Pause. All right.
What mistakes was she doing? Very negative.
Yeah, very negative.
Talked bad about the runner. Talked bad about the way we raise money. Yeah, exactly.
How dare we use subs for having you all here and setting these things up, right?
Okay, here I go. Hello, I am the Kyle Thomas. I'm going to be your host for the next couple games here. Coming up, oh, God. Anyway, here's the run.
What did Kyle do wrong? Nothing? Did you say nothing? He was not resilient.
I was not resilient at all.
This man crashed out. Right? He threw a chair. We cannot throw a chair at the broadcast.
We cannot throw chairs.
Thank you. Yes. Are you going to audition? Have you auditioned before? Okay, good. Okay,
well, thank you for auditioning. Yeah.
Awesome. So now you've learned all this stuff, and you're going to do it again. Okay, fantastic.
Okay, have fun, Sav.
Okay. Sorry, can I have a second?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed. Can I?
Do you want to do like the good place versions of things? No, or maybe not.
No. Okay, I'm really... Oh my God, okay, yeah. Okay. So our next runner is the Kyle Thomas, and oh my God, he's a smoke show. And you know what? Like, he is on the top 10 list of speedrunners I would do. And you know what? Speaking of do, we have a $69 donation from... Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Thank you. Okay.
Other than nothing.
Other than nothing.
What did I do wrong?
You weren't being yourself.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
It's so true. I have called someone a smoke show before, unironically, but I definitely wasn't myself there. But yeah, what else? Oh. Well, yeah, certainly objectifying the runner, terrible. Objectifying anyone, yeah.
Explicit
content. Yeah, GDQ's family friendly. We were just convoing about whether I should drop an F-bomb in this panel. I decided not to. But yeah, like we really take it seriously that you can watch with your whole family. Like during that Pokemon run yesterday, we got so many donations about people watching with their kids and having them be excited, and they want the state of Wisconsin to adopt them. How sweet is that? But you can't keep that audience if you're not family friendly. So you have to make sure. And there have been auditions where people have cursed, and the judges have actually said, at this timestamp, I stopped listening because we're not going to take them. And that's important. So no cussing at all. Yep. All right, Kyle.
God dang it.
You got to do this one. All right.
Okay, we got a $15 donation here from the Kyle Thomas. It says, thank you so much for everything that you do. # make GDQ great again. And you know what? I really agree. GDQ, I want to make it great again. I think we've elected the right politicians, and you should be out there voting for the same politicians I vote for.
Okay.
That was the worst thing I've ever done. What did I do wrong?
What did Kyle do wrong? He involved politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a hashtag.
He also read the hashtag, which you're not supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
he also read his own donation.
Oh, that's
Very good.
That's a great call. Yeah,
Very
we don't want to draw attention to ourselves as hosts, so we don't give any special preference to ourselves especially, but other hosts or other staff. We don't read their donations just because they're one of our friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Savage Octagon. You can find me on Twitch at Savage_Octagon. You can find me on Blue Sky at Savage_Octagon. You can find me on Twitter at Savage Octagon. No _. And also, I'm doing this thing on my channel where I play an hour of every single game that I own, and it's like so cool, and I've been playing so many games, and look at me, and welcome to SGDQ 2025. I'm so excited to be here. Aren't you so excited to be here with me? Like, don't you want to give me some amazing donations like me? Like, don't you want to hear me read them? There was this one time I played the game that's coming up next. Like, it was awesome. Okay, what did I do wrong?
A lot of self-promotion.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. But
that is an issue.
They only need an hour. Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. It's a terrible game. It's a really bad game.
But yeah, we as the host are the voice of the marathon. We're not there to promote ourselves. If the runner says, "Hey, where can we find you, host?" You can promote yourself there. But other than that, we're trying to be kind of transparent. We're trying to be our personalities, but not trying to draw people to our Twitch channel. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got one more, and this is for remote hosts only. And see if you can get this one.
Hello, my name is Kyle Thomas. I want to be here, your host for the next bunch of games. It's really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here. It's been really fun being the host here, everybody, and I can't wait to get to the next round, which is Grand Prix World 3. And how long should I do this, Sev? Do you think I should stop now?
Please stop.
Okay, as a remote host only, what was the problem with that? Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yeah, you cannot have fries with that. Yeah, good.
So those are some of the fatal mistakes that can come across the desk. And can I go to the next? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here's our list. Mm-hmm. Also this last one. Just kind of being a jerk in the audition server. Everybody's stressed. Everybody is there in the same thing as you, so keep the energy as positive as you can. We did create a special channel for venting and for seeking emotional support from others and keeping things limited to that. But if you're drawing attention to yourself and being like just a real butt, that's nobody wants to have that on the team, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the server, you could definitely drop an F-bomb. I would be permissive of that as someone who drops a lot of F-bombs. Whew, no longer a teacher. Whew, all right, I can do that. There's this emotional support channel where you can express nervousness about the audition, and that's totally normal. Of course, everyone's, nervous. But if you are making other people uncomfortable, that kind of thing, and someone comes to me and says, this behavior is really inappropriate, then as someone who has to communicate with all these hosts via Discord, via online spaces, then if that person's not going to fit into the team online, then we can't work with them.
Yeah. Okay. So we have taken a little bit longer than I think we planned, but we have time for Q&A. Do we have a little bit time still to go? Okay, great. So we've got some question and answer time where we do have a couple rules. First one, let's keep this about the audition process, how judging works, things like that. We do have another panel tomorrow at 4 here about what it is to host, being a good host, how to get better at hosting specific, but we'll want to keep this about the audition process. And the middle one is my personal most favorite one. Don't compliment us. We're fine. We're just people in a job, so it's fine.
Yes, the question, why are you so cool? I know that I just sound like I built myself up a little bit, but we get that question, and the reason why we're cool is we spent a really long time being uncool.
Yeah.
So
to this day.
And we found our people, so that's
and we'll repeat the questions up here so it's on the recording for anybody. So who has a question? Yes.
When you apply to be a host, does that guarantee an audition?
When you apply to be a host, does it guarantee an audition? Yes. Just your very application puts you in the server and gets you ready to audition right then and there.
You do not have to audition after that point. You can choose.
Yeah.
But we will never choose that you cannot audition. Yeah.
And if you are volunteering as one of our wonderful host judges, because you have access to all of the audition materials for doing that, that does exclude you from being able to audition. Because you have to make the decision at that point, do I want to host or do I want to be a host judge? Because we give you access to secret documents.
Yes.
We'll go in the front, then we'll go in the back here.
So you talked a lot about being yourself. How do you kind of figure out what kind of host you are, whether you're a more chill host or you're a more upbeat host?
Great question.
So they asked, we talked a lot about being ourselves. How do we find out who ourselves are? How do we find our natural voice? Do I understand that right? Yeah. My first tip, and I know this kind of goes against things, but find the people who you like and who you resonate with and kind of emulate a little bit. The phrase is like emulate, then innovate. So if you can try different things that you see and go, oh, that just doesn't feel like me, and working with your friends and everything too, you can start to kind of chunk away who you're not, and that can kind of lead you to who you are. It's a very, very hard question. There are books and books on how to find your natural voice. But that's kind of my first thing, is start experimenting with other people to find what you do and do not resonate with in yourself.
People, I sort of thread this through a little bit, but people you love are very helpful. So if you're having a conversation with one of your favorite people in the world and they're making you laugh hysterically and you want to make them laugh hysterically, what are you sounding like? If you're really serious, take a step back for a second. What are you sounding like? You know, you can find these moments through your day when you can maybe take a step back and say, oh, that was so me, you know, and that can really help you, you know.
Yeah. Does that help? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, good.
And then you had a question back there?
Great question.
So they asked, does being a judge disqualify you from being a host later or auditioning later, right? No.
No.
It's all per event. We've had plenty of people who are not quite ready to audition, so they want to see it from the judge side, and they'll be our amazing judges, and we love their work so much. They're all so fantastic.
And there are people, and they can out themselves if they want. Any judges here?
Yeah.
Look at
yeah,
that.
judges, thank you.
They are amazing.
Your work
Thank
is
you so much.
invaluable.
They write such thoughtful things. But also there are hosts who can't make it to an event for whatever reason, and they say, well, I'm going to judge this time around because I know what it's like to sit on this side and be doing this, and so now I want to judge as well. Yeah, great question. It seemed like you might have another one. You said I have a quick one.
That's okay.
I'm
if
sorry,
you think
I
of
put
it, you
you
can
on the
ask us
spot.
anytime.
Yeah. Someone who hasn't gone.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so I auditioned for the first time for this event.
Yes.
But I was telling people that I auditioned, and some feedback that they gave, even though they don't know anything about the audition process, you know it's anonymous, I know it's anonymous. Something that they were telling me is, oh, you should get into content
Yeah.
about GDQ, but I don't stream and stuff like that, so I don't agree with what they're saying. But I just wanted to know
Yeah.
what you thought about people telling me that when
Sure.
I tell them I want to be a host.
Yeah, so the
So-
question was first time auditioner, friends were giving feedback that you should be a content creator and you should get your voice out there so potentially a judge could recognize you. No.
Absolutely not.
No. There are some hosts who don't stream, who don't make any videos. Yeah. And my channel, obviously you're all going to follow me now, but like I don't have a lot of followers. And so it's not going to help you to be recognized or not recognized. It's just going to help. What's going to help you is showing up and doing the thing well. And then you'll be part of the family and decide whether you want to create more content or not. You know, that's your decision, but it's not going to help you.
It could, the thing that it could help, like she spoke to, is you're now getting a lot of experience speaking publicly, finding your own voice. You're getting a lot of repetitions of what works and what doesn't work for yourself. But really, you can do that whether you're recording yourself or not.
Yeah.
So it should theoretically be irrelevant.
Tell your friends, told you so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can send them to us.
It's really fun. Show them this video.
Yeah,
Oh my
show them the video.
God.
Ooh, yeah. Subtweet them.
Wait, where's the camera?
No way. Get out of here.
Ah,
Okay,
thank
great.
you. Okay, awesome. And thank you so much for putting in your first audition.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you ask for your feedback?
I can't remember if I did or not.
Well,
Right after it happened, I went on a vacation, and I can't remember if
okay.
I had time to do it or not. So
Send me a Discord message. I know that there was a deadline, but I'll extend it just for you. Okay. Yeah.
More questions.
Yeah. Oh, front row.
So you said that you showed that hosts have the ability to sort of organize donation messages as they come in. They also have the ability to organize them by category, like whether they will be have a certain tone, or whether you're transitioning to prize reads or to tribe.
So the question was, do we have the capability? We have the pinning and moving around capabilities. Do we have categories? And have you seen the tracker that is live now? Have you worked donations or anything like that? So that is something that the live event does have that we haven't been able to emulate yet.
Yeah.
So it's a maybe we'll get it in the future kind of feature, but it is not something that we have currently.
Because all kinds of different hosts choose different groups to make and things like that. So we don't want to create groups for you and prescribe what you might want to organize, but also it adds a layer of complication that because there's only 5 minutes of talkie, it's a little too many layers for you only having like a minute and a half to prepare. But if you use those pins strategically, you can sort of say, well, my first couple of pins are going to be heartfelt donations. My second couple of pins are going to be runner donations, that kind of thing. And since you do have the power to like migrate them up and down, you can try to organize them that way. But there is no grouping at the moment. That
Great
would be a
question.
wish list kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely been on our wish list. More questions? We'll go next to you here.
Great. So the practice box and the emulation with the donations, how creative are you in coming up with usernames? And I would say
Uh-oh.
just to the point back here, I think the one sort of beneficial thing for someone that might do content creation, like Twitch streaming, is reading people's usernames that might come into chat.
Sure.
And getting that sort of practice that seems like it could be beneficial for a host.
Yeah, the question was, how creative do we get with usernames? And could seeing different usernames be an advantage for a content creator? I think any way that you could be surprised by a piece of written information that you then have to read out loud is good. So certainly people coming into your chat that you don't know and you trying to pronounce their names, that's great. And also just having a friend run at you, give you a name, and then you have to read it out loud excitedly, that will also work. How creative do we get with them? It's so hard after a while to not just put noun and then a number after it.
We've have to write, I don't know, 60 to 100 donations to like pull from for each audition. So if there's a backup audition, we have like a whole other batch of them. We have different strategies.
We do actually sometimes pull from the spreadsheet of actual donations, and sometimes an auditioner has had to read a donation from themselves, which is very awkward.
That's happened once. It happened once.
Yeah, it happened once. Yeah, my apologies. Oh yeah, you're Cube Boy. Okay, yeah, I remember. I remember that message. I was like, oh no. So we really we wrote the audition months before that, so we'll have to really figure that out. But the best name from the last audition, because we wrote a very good donation, was Dire Dachshund. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Props to Dire Dachshund, who's apparently a real person who has donated. But that had the most variety of pronunciations that I've ever heard, and it was wild. And that was not something we gave a pronunciation to. But it sort of told us, A, who knows what a dachshund is and knows about cute dogs, and B, who knows what Dire Docs is from N64, Super Mario 64. So not that that's a prerequisite, but we got a lot of fun out of that in the judges server, right? Yeah, absolutely.
And have we snuck in childhood nicknames of ourselves? Yeah, we sure have.
Yes.
Have I snuck in old AOL screen names?
Yes.
Yeah, sure have. Yeah, I really did. I'm not telling you which ones they were.
I snuck in a good friend of mine who donated during my run today, talking about string cheese. My husband was in the audition. Yes.
Yeah.
My first high school boyfriend's nickname for me has been in the audition. Like
my cat has been
your
in the
cat
audition.
has been in the audition.
A couple times.
Dr. Mario, because that's the game I play. He's a doctor without borders. He was in the audition. You know, things like that. Like, we can only be so generative.
It's hard.
And then when we've been doing it for 5 hours, then we feel like idiots and we're laughing like, look at this name. We're really dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, really good question. Other questions? Sure.
So, 2 auditions ago, I read a donation halfway through. I realized it was wrong, but I switched it, so it wasn't wrong. Is that a good, bad, or different?
Yeah. So the question is, halfway through a donation, I realized it was a bad donation. It had something bad at the end, and I switched it. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that neutral? And if you did it 2 ago, I don't think we had made the subtle adaptation to the rubric where it's okay to catch one and fix it. I think we were still like, even if you didn't read it, it's better than reading the bad stuff, but it still was a mistake. But now we do build in some leniency of like, if you read something for the wrong charity, but you fix the charity, or you pull a joke out and you go, I'm so glad you're donating 6 months ahead for our next, if you are able to do that, that shows
That's good.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
But would it be better that you didn't read it at all?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, but it's not a true mistake unless you're doing it the whole time.
Right. If you do it multiple times, then the judges might question how good is your pre-reading. But yeah, you have the power to subtly change something so that it is appropriate, it sounds good, etc.
And tangentially, we coach as well. She's the host coordinator, but we coach our hosts that if someone uses non-inclusive language, or if someone in any way, whether it's gender expression or mental health or anything like that, if it's one word tweak, you can do that anytime you want. Because it's much better to hear the donation and cut out ladies and gentlemen and change it to folks than it is to not hear that donation at all, especially if it's really good or hashtagged, things like that.
Okay. I don't know. Are we lurking? Are we almost done?
I know we've gone over. We're good? Okay.
Oh, great.
Any more questions? We're just hanging out now.
Yeah, we're vibing.
Yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
Have y'all ever, or would y'all ever, allow people to volunteer to host or co-host as a pair?
Okay, great question. The question was, would we ever consider allowing people to host as a pair and audition as a pair? The answer is yes, we have considered it. We're really actually quite seriously considering it, because some of the moments where people have hosted as pairs and have that natural chemistry have been amazing. And especially something like a Save the Animals, Kill the Animals bid war, right, could really get a lot of traction that way. And also just more of that stuff that I said about how we just want to be a group of friends nerding out on the couch together, that could really help. The only limitation that we have to that is sort of technology, which is really trying to nail down how we would make sure that two people have good mic quality, that they can both be heard and they can enter the Discord and they both don't have any tech issues. Those are the kind of things we're thinking about testing prior to making that happen. But yes, we have been considering it. I think it would be exciting because we weren't able to get any double hosting in this time, although we were able to have hosts talk to each other in between games a little bit. But yeah, it's a great question. And if I hadn't had that idea before, it would be an awesome idea, and I would give you all the credit. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Something that you and I had talked about when we talked about double host auditioning. Would they both get in together and both not get in together?
Yes.
Or would one, yeah.
Yeah,
So if
it
you
would be
audition as a
all or-
pair, you're, yeah.
Yeah, it would be all or nothing, unfortunately. We wouldn't take the pair and say, well, this one was really good and the other person was really not good. That would tear apart families and friendships and whatnot. We're not in that business. But yes, it would be all or nothing for sure. Yeah.
Very niche. Is there like any like ergonomic settings with the hosting stuff? Just because
Oh.
I'm very tall, my brother's not, and it's just a very fun dynamic of that.
Oh, so you mean like your microphone? Oh.
So the question was, are there ergonomic settings at the host desk to make sure people are comfortable? You have a headset mic, so
Yeah.
that helps.
So
This
you
has
would
not
each
been
have
great for
one.
me.
Yes.
But yeah, the headset mic will help. But the monitors are
Yeah, I mean,
kind
you're,
of a little bit.
how tall and how short is the question? Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have hosts of all heights and sizes, and the thing is, yeah, I think the limiting factor is that since there's 3 monitors, you both want to make sure that you can look at the 2 of them, but we have hosts of all heights and stuff. We can't raise and lower the monitors, but yeah.
It's a fun
It's
question.
a great question,
Yeah.
though. We worry consistently about people's heights.
All we
so-
care about is that our hosts are happy and comfortable. I mean, and good hosting and stuff like
Yeah.
that. but-
Okay. Yes.
So during this audition process, I know that one of the things was if you want to be an online host, you can only audition for online hosts, or you can only audition for in person. For this event, I auditioned for in person because I knew I was going to be here. But for AGDQ, I would probably be open to doing both. Have you had the idea of maybe having an audition, someone puts forth an audition, and it could go for both inline and in person, or is it really just off separated completely?
It's interesting. So the question is, you auditioned and you said you were going to be in person, but you also had the option to audition remotely, separately. Have you ever considered having there be an either category? And actually, the truth is there's already an either category. Yeah. We actually are not sure if we're going to continue having that category because it makes it very, very difficult to pick hosts. Do we say like, well, this group of people, we know we're going to be there and they're very good, but then this person's really good too, but they said they would be online, so maybe we can put them online, but maybe they really want to be in person. We don't know. So that's tough.
And then
Yeah.
that person who said either scored better across the board than the remote only. So do we take the remote only because they said that? Or, it gets into this really like
Tough.
too many. It's a 3-body problem kind of how do we pick the right set of people. So
Yeah. So
I'll be
we're
interested to see what you do.
yeah, we're considering whether we want to continue having either be a thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
More questions? Yeah.
I have a question. It doesn't apply to me, but I wonder if it might apply to someone else.
You have a friend who has. I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
So let's say someone wants to audition for host and they end up getting a host chance, but they don't want their stream username to be on the screen. Can they pick a different pseudonym to go on the screen?
Yeah, great question. So the question was, what if you get in and you become a host and you don't want to put your username on screen? Can you just pick something? And the answer is yeah.
Yeah.
You can put whatever name you want on there. If your name, you don't want people just coming into your stream having recognized your voice, it's totally fine. You could have your first name, you could have a different alias, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this last audition, I used the first segment to kind of give my weight content, and then the second segment was kind of like, here, say this content. It was like the content I already gave, and I just kind of like improv, kind but also make it, if it's like a, say, a sponsor for the Doctor Reporters, for example, again, I already use the content, so I'm not trying to switch it up. For an audition specifically.
Yeah, yeah.
So the question was, in my first segment, I did all of my stuff that I was like really confident in, that I felt really good about, and then I got to the second segment and felt like I had to just do it again. And so how can I vary up what I'm doing? How can I improvise a little bit better or have more things? That is, I mean, a fantastic question and kind of part of this whole art. But I think leaning on the provided content as far as the context, the donations, all the different blurbs and things like that to create a now you know what static you're going to read, so you don't want to read that in the beginning. So you'll talk about the charity at the beginning, introduce yourself, talk about the upcoming interview, and fill in things that are appropriate. We've got the run coming up. Here's this incentive. You get to the next one, and you just kind of pick a different set. If you're finding yourself out of donations for some reason, which you shouldn't be, we provide a bunch of donations, so you should never run out of that content. But it really is kind of the meat and potatoes of the actual hosting process of finding what is relevant right now, what are we coming up to, what did we just come out of, and what are the things in front of me that I can tie those into. And it's kind of a non-answer from me at least, but we try to give you as much stuff as we can so you can build a full audition worth of things. And if you run out or if you get thrown a curveball, there's still new things to fall back to.
Another thing is, I don't know if we were 100% clear with, there is a warm-up section before. That's the image that we showed you. And that does not go to the judges. That's when you introduce yourself to us. But you could just say your name and then say nothing for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. We'll just cut it out anyway. But I guess, did you feel that you used all your best content in that section? Don't do
warm-up?
that. Just don't do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. I know that you want to warm up and feel like your guns are blazing already, but don't blaze them. No.
Or blaze them right the same way again.
Yes.
Like
No.
do the exact same blaze.
But you can't do
Yeah,
that.
no, you can't.
I understand the question. Yeah, so use something that's good, but don't, if you've pre-written something that you're excited about, or you know that you can read this blurb like fantastically, just don't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
hold that back.
Yeah, just read, like you could just read the donations that are provided. Yeah, so.
Good question though. That's
Yeah.
a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fantastic question. The question is, how do hosts get placed? And there's a couple of different ways. One is that there's sometimes when a host has a prior relationship with a runner and they have a game in, and they come to both of us, or both of us, them come to us separately, and they say, hey, this person would like to host for me. I would like them to host for my run. And we try to prioritize that. As long as it's the right place in the schedule, we try to honor that. Hosts give us all kinds of preferences. We tell them, list every single game that would possibly make you happy. And we don't care if it's, just say all of them if it's all of them, but like, you know what I mean? And we try to make you happy somehow. And if you say, hey, I'm a horror streamer, I love horror games. Oh my gosh, thank God, because I can't stand them. I'm just ooked out, right? And that's why we need everybody. And so, yes, and so we look at all those preferences. We also take things into account, like, are you a very chill person? And if you are, we might not put you on prime time Friday night when you have to compete for attention with the biggest thing ever.
And there's a bonus game to
And
be
there's a
met,
bonus
and there's
game
incentives
and,
that keep opening.
That kind of thing. So we do use your voice a little bit, your energy, but we also we kind of have a philosophy of one that makes you happy and one that makes us happy. And also, again, if you say that you're available overnight, you will automatically make us happy.
We love you.
We love you. Yes. Yeah.
You should see the spreadsheet that we have for planning everybody out, because we balance time. We try to get everybody as equal with hosting time as possible, and make sure that they have their 2 shifts, and make sure that we get the one for you and the one for us, and we're tracking all of that in real time. And we've got a really good track record of fulfilling people's requests where we can, because nothing makes us happier than there are times where we'll put out a list in the past for me, in the present for her, and everybody reaches out like, oh my God, I can't believe I got this game that I wanted and stuff. And it makes us feel amazing. So it's an art. And yeah, your requests really go into at least one block.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Great question.
Spreadsheets are amazing. Yeah.
Maybe one more if we got time.
Anyone who hasn't asked a question so far.
Looks like we got one more. That's okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
The question was, is there any point in the audition process where I can provide credentials, past experience, things like that, that would affect how the audition came out? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So no. The auditions stand on their own.
Yeah.
And that's how we want them to.
Yeah.
So it sets you up to lock in for the day and then showcase all of that past experience that you have. And that past experience is amazing. But it's amazing in the service of the audition itself.
Have you ever seen the movie Ratatouille? Great hosts can come from anywhere. Yeah. Thank you all so much for
Thank you all
being
so
here.
much.
We
It's been
wanna hear
amazing
your
having you.
voices.
Yeah,
thank
please
you.
audition. You're in great hands with Sav and Jay. They're going to take really good care of you from soup to nuts in the whole process. So
That phrase is so weird to me. Anyway, thanks for being here.
thank you so much.